Alright, back again, Luke here. And as you can see in front of you, there's a pile of tools and some circuitry. What this is a Guitar Hero guitar, and what I'm in the process of doing here is trying to repair the micro switches that are in it. Now what happens with these from time to time is after a lot of use, the micro switches that are in it, which look like these, will eventually start to wear out, and you won't be able to play any music, or it'll only sporadically work some of the times. And this one here is one that's bad, and you can see that I've taken one off of here from the inside, so I'm in the process of trying to repair that. You can also check these ones here by using a continuity meter, and if we have this one connected here to the bottom, when we go to press down on the top, you can hear how it only turns on once. This thing is not getting a very good solid connection as well, so let's see. It's quite sporadic. Yep, so you can see with these micro switches here, what'll happen is over time they'll just stop connecting and not making a good connection. So what I'm going to do here is open these up and try and remove everything on the inside, try and tighten things down, and then see if we can put this back together and get more of a consistent continuity between the 2 points, and that should fix our problem. Now unfortunately with this setup here, I don't have the dongle, so I can't test everything. I'm actually repairing this for a friend, or Ben, if you guys have seen the other videos with Ben in them. But currently that's what I'm in the process of doing, so what I'm going to do here is strip these down and put them back together, and we'll see what we get. Not sure exactly how long this video will be, but we'll get on that and I'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so as you can see here, we've got the micro switch all torn apart, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and clean up and adjust these components here. Here's the spring for it as well, and try and put it back together. Now these micro switches here are not built the strongest. I've actually seen a lot better micro switches in regular arcade buttons, so I mean this is kind of a cheap way of putting this guitar together. I would almost assume that if you had some regular micro switches from an actual button, like an arcade button or so, it would probably last a lot longer than these, and it might be something to consider if you're ever thinking about switching these out or repairing them instead of fixing these ones per se. Maybe get some regular arcade button switches and then put those in there, and that should probably fix the problem a lot easier. But what we're going to do here is we're going to try and fix the old ones, and I'm going to get on this. I'm going to try and put this one back together here and see if we can get any continuity with it, and if we can, then great. If not, I might have to explore that second route that I just talked about here. So I'll get on this and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone and I put this micro switch back together here after getting things sorted out, and now we should get complete continuity with this. Oh yeah, much better. So this is I think going to work out quite well here. When we put this back in there, I'll have to remove the other one and do the same thing with the other one, and we'll see how it works. We'll put it back together and we'll double check it when it's finally completed, and then we'll send this thing off and hopefully everything will be alright. So I'll get on the rest of this one here. I'll try and remove the other one and do the same thing, and we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so here's our second switch, and I've used some paint on these just so I could color code which one's up and which one's down on the side here, but now we go to test this one here, and very consistent continuity. So this is a really good switch now. Both of these should be working perfectly, and when we go and slap this thing back together, it should be okay. So what I'll do here is I'll put the switches back in. I've already got one of them back in here. I'll put the other one back in. We'll do a final little test here to make sure that everything's still making good continuity, which it shouldn't change, and then yeah, we'll put it all back together and send it back to its owner. So I'll get back on that and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so here we've got switch 1 and switch 2, so we'll just do a final check here and make sure that's working well, and check out switch number 1 here. Yep, both sides seem to be working out quite well, so this should be really good. It should work out a lot better here, and it should last for a little bit longer. So final steps here is just to put this thing back together, and yeah, I'll show you what the guitar looks like. So I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so I got the body of the guitar put back together, and I figured what I could do is take out these buttons and try and clean those up as well. And one thing I noticed when I opened this thing up here is this is really, really bad. I don't know if this was done through the factory, I'm assuming it was, but you can see here that the outline of this has actually been pushed onto the post here, like when it was put together. Looks like it's been kind of ripped as well. The wire is still connected, just barely, but it's kind of stuck up here. It's bent it out of shape and like literally separated it. I'm surprised that it's still intact, to be honest, but this was sitting just like this, and this has never been opened before, so really, really weird to see how that is. A lot of glue remnants as well, but you can see how the rest of the plastic here is just punched through to keep the ribbon cable in place. But really found that interesting and odd that something like this would make it out of the factory. But once again, the quality on this is not exactly the best. So nonetheless, it's still working, but just kind of thought I'd throw that in there as well. What we're going to do here is try to remove this plate. I haven't removed it yet, and it seems like it's in there quite well. Actually, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to try and you can see it's got a bit of a bow to it as well. But what I'm going to have to do here is try and separate this. I'm guessing it's glued down as well, but we'll get that off there and then try and clean up the buttons from underneath. So I'll get on that and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, well, I managed to get this thing off here. I had to do a little bit of prying, but what we'll do is just simply clean this up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. This is the pad, or the giant pad here, for all of the buttons on the front. And we'll clean up the circuit board and we'll put it all back together. What I think I'll do is I'll just try and push this thing to the side here so it doesn't get caught up underneath that screw again, and that should be okay. It seems like it's making still pretty good continuity, but just kind of weird how that was stuck like that and kind of ripped out. But nonetheless, we'll just clean this up here, and well, I actually have some Q-tip here. I'll try this. Just go over these ones here. Try and clean up each one of these points. I don't know how dirty this is, but I'll say, yeah, not too bad. And we'll go over the pads here. These ones are usually a bit more dirty. Normally these pads here and stuff like that, they're really easy to clean up. So normally when you start getting back into the older machines, like back into the Famicom or Nintendo and stuff like that, these pads have a tendency to really wear down. So take that off here. Alright, well, it's not too bad, but nonetheless, we'll do a bit of a thorough cleaning on this one. We'll come back, put it all back together, and that should be the end of it. So I'll get on that and see you guys for the final vid here in just a minute. Alright now, so we've got everything put back together, and this thing should be ready to rock and roll. So, unfortunately I don't have the dongle for it, so I can't show you guys any gameplay of this thing in action, but after testing out all the different components and putting them back together, everything seems to be working fine, so there should be no reason why this thing doesn't work just like it normally would when it first came out of the box. So, nonetheless, hopefully you guys found this a little bit entertaining, and yeah, that's about all for me for right now. Like always, I'll put up another video here soon, so thanks for watching. Good guitar.